Welcome to TWMP Daily. Very special guest, somebody I've invited. I've wanted to have on for a long time. You've been remotely, but now you're here in the studio. Jamie Corley, thank you so much for making the time.
Thank you. I feel very excited to be in the corner.
So, well, that's a statement I didn't say in school, but I very much appreciate the sentiment, and I'm so glad you came over today. So tell folks, we've known each other a little bit from your run in the past, but tell folks about yourself. Where are you from? Where are your kinfolks from?
Yep. So 5th generation Missourian, born and raised. We were just talking about, I've got a dog, Fred, from West Plains. Yep. So all over the state. I have worked in politics and been in politics my whole career, so about 15 years. And I have specialized a lot in healthcare politics and healthcare policy. So I'm working on a project that we can talk about now that is a natural progression of working in the healthcare area.
Nice. So St. Louisan?
I'm a St. Louisan, born and raised.
I'm going to ask you the St. Louis question so you feel at home. Where did you go to high school?
I went to MICDS.
So that makes me feel like a real St. Louisan, right? At least,
totally.
At least St. Louis adjacent. Can I ask you the right
Absolutely.
question? What parents? Tell them about your family.
Both my parents, born and raised in St. Louis. I mean, we lived in the same house or the same neighborhood my entire life.
What part of town?
Warson Woods, Missouri. It's right by Kirkwood.
Gather Hanaway. Every time I hear Warson Woods, I think of the golf course. I think of Gather Hanaway.
And we have one of those big families where my dad is one of 6, and they all live within 15 minutes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a cool. That's like the dream dynamic for families to be that close knit and all that.
Yep. So we run into each other at the grocery store, and we go to each other's games, and
everybody knows everything about each other.
I was just gonna say it. Yes, everyone knows everything about one another.
You're from Warson Woods. Being from Poplar Bluff. That is the wonderful thing is you know everybody.
Yep.
And it probably the only real problem is everybody knows you and wants to know everything about you.
Yeah. Or you'll go to the grocery store and someone will say, well, do you remember when you were in 7th grade and you played at so-and-so's house and I was her neighbor? Or when it gets really good and they say, I knew your dad in 7th grade. And we used to, ride around U City or whatever. So I love that. I love that about St. Louis.
Cardinal fan, I assume.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to have to cut this. We've had a bunch of this Royals talk the last few weeks. It's gotten very old. All right, so St. Louis person.
Yeah.
What are you doing now?
So right now I am working, I'm the executive director of a 501c4 organization called Prescription Benefits Matter.
I have heard about what they call PBM for slang, right?
Yep.
What the hell is that?
Yes, okay. So you have one, I have one. If you're insured, you have a PBM advocating on your behalf to lower what you pay for your prescriptions at the pharmacy counter. So that they work for.
I would like mine to work harder.
Okay. Okay. So, well, they do work hard, and one of our purposes for this organization is to help the public, educate and empower the public to understand what their prescription could be without a prescription benefit manager working on their behalf.
I've always felt like a lot of the issue with healthcare reform in general, if you ask people, do you want healthcare reform? Everybody's like, hell yes, absolutely. It's not as simple as, okay, we want a bill passed to raise tariffs. Okay, we don't. You can kind of understand the concepts behind that with not that much research, but healthcare in general, take PBMs out of it, is so damn complicated.
Right.
I don't think folks that are raising a family and have a job and have busy lives, I think it's truly something that no one understands why healthcare costs what it does.
Absolutely. That is part of our mission with this organization, is to provide some transparency on pricing for medications, because people should know why they pay what they pay. So, for example, I take thyroid medicine. Lots of people do, lots of women do. And if I didn't have a prescription benefit manager working on behalf of my healthcare plan, I would be paying much, much more at the pharmacy counter than I do. So
how do they get it lower?
Yep. So they represent 275 million Americans. And what they do is they have leverage and negotiating power. So they'll go to a pharmaceutical company, and the pharmaceutical company might say, we're going to charge $100 for this medication. And a PBM will say, well, we're going to pay $25. And then you see this negotiation, and what eventually the patient sees is not the $100 price that it started at, but maybe 26, 27.
Okay, you're a successful, accomplished St. Louisan. I'm just a white trash Butler County hillbilly. Why doesn't the insurance company just do that?
Well, the insurance
is it legal? I don't know.
Well,
I really don't know.
A PBM can negotiate. Well, an insurance company will hire a PBM.
Okay.
And so they will negotiate, and a union may hire a PBM. Medicare will hire a PBM. This saves taxpayer dollars. And so they have leverage, they have
expertise. It's like hiring a realtor almost. You don't want to go haggle with you want to buy a house. You got to buy a house.
Right.
But like medicine, you don't have a choice. You got to have somewhere to live.
Right.
So you would hire an independent person to go negotiate like a realtor.
Right.
Basically.
Right. And they work behind the scenes. They've been doing this for decades. And
how long has this went on?
It's been, since the 70s. I mean, they have deep.
I know nothing about this.
Yeah. And most people don't, right? So they may have been hearing about PBMs in the news. If you're in St. Louis, you've probably heard of Express Scripts.
Sure.
That's a PBM. They're a big
I just
employer.
Know my healthcare, when I rarely go to the doctor, the insurance is too high, the doctor's office is too much, and the prescriptions are too much. That's all I know about any of it.
I think that most people agree with that. I wouldn't argue that healthcare costs are too high, but PBMs are actually a tool to lower the cost for the patient. And that's what I care about most, is the complexity of insurance premiums and what the employer pays and Medicare. I mean, it like you said, it is extraordinarily complicated. But what I care about is, what does the patient pay for his blood pressure medication, and how do we get it as low as possible? And how do we get it as convenient as possible, right? So one of the great things about prescription benefit managers are they have these really complex systems to deliver your medication. So you might be able to get a 90-day supply instead of a 30-day supply.
Why do medicines make you refill? Why don't you just give you the medicine? Here's my pet peeve. This is
okay, go on.
This is my white trash complaint.
Okay.
I don't go to the doctor that much, and I pay too much for insurance. The pharmacy takes forever. I hate going. I hate going.
Yeah.
And the folks at where I go on Walgreens at I'd like to have a special message to the folks at Walgreens on Dix Road and Missouri Boulevard. I appreciate you. I know you're working hard, but damn, it takes forever.
Yeah. So.
And I hate lines.
I hate lines.
I hardly won't even go to Six Flags because I hate lines so much.
I agree. If I need to pick up my prescription and there are more than 2 cars
I drive by.
100%.
I'm like, I'll come back later. I don't need this.
Yep.
One day I'm going to die of a heart attack because I didn't pick up my prescription because there was a car in the line. I was like, the hell with this.
I know. But we are not alone in that. So
can the PBM just mail you the damn prescriptions?
Yes.
See, I don't care. I don't need 3 months of a prescription, really. But I just don't want to go to the pharmacy 3 times.
Right.
I like the mail
100%. It really matters also when you have immunotherapies. My mom's on an immunotherapy, and they have to be really specially handled, refrigerated. They arrived at her door, and
so you don't want to keep them around. You have to keep up with them.
It actually, if I don't fill my thyroid medicine one day, it's not going to kill me. If she let you know what I'm talking about. So she really needed that special handling, which, again, a pharmacy benefit manager is going to be able to have the right trucks. They're going to have these systems that make sure the medicine is on time. They're running checks to make sure that her medicine that was recently prescribed isn't interacting with other medications, because contraindications for medications can be super dangerous, if not deadly, especially if women are pregnant, and if you take a lot of medications, we want to make sure that they're not negatively affecting one another. That's something that a PBM can help with.
I got to thank a couple folks. I want to thank the folks at the Courtyard by Marriott. When you come to town, Don't let Christmas or somebody tell you some crappy hotel.
Okay.
Don't take Keller's advice for anything. Go to the
I would never take Keller's advice for anything.
The Courtyard by Marriott. Well, maybe hair care products, but that'd be the
So
yeah.
true.
The Courtyard by Marriott is where you got to stay. Anywhere else, I mean, you can tell if someone invites you over here and they handle your accommodations, which a classy person would.
Yep.
If they put you somewhere with the Courtyard, just cancel and just delete them out of your
Yeah.
phone. Then I gotta always love United Fiber, the best rural broadband in the state of Missouri. As some old buddy Dan Hagan would say, in the great Northwest. We appreciate the folks at United Fiber. And I gotta look at this thing right here. My friend Anthony from the Hill, give me this Stein. Sent this to me. It is got a little Cristobal cologne. I think that's actually Columbus type thing. This is outstanding. Thank you so much, bud. I really appreciate it. I promise you, if you send Steins, we have an entire speakeasy with them wrapped around. Please come when you're in Jeff City. I'd be so honored if you came by. I'll show you where we have every single one of them. Okay, some folks don't like these. The game we're about to play, which is going to be dope, by the way. Stick with us till the end of the show. Having this out front, there's detractors. What's the rub? If lots of insurance companies and folks hire PBMs, what's the pushback?
Well, I'm not going to make their case for them.
Well, you got to tell me like someone that knows nothing about healthcare.
Sure. So there is some rub. Some people say they like their community pharmacist, and community pharmacists, they have a special relationship with their community. I love community pharmacists. So the rub.
So why doesn't a pharmacy hire you to get cheaper drugs? I mean, they're not making the drugs.
So
the folks that might hate you would be the drug companies, right?
Yep. So there's
because you're wanting to sell their product for cheaper.
Well, there's some preferred pharmacy networks. So, for example, I have Caremark CVS, so I have to go to CVS to pick up my prescriptions, or they can get delivered.
And I would assume a big PBM like Express Scripts, they don't want to use the local pharmacy, so they have a million different agreements. They want to have 5 agreements with big places like CVS, right?
I mean, that's a good point. But it's really about making, the efficiency of making sure that medication is delivered on time. And I think
you could get mailed stuff now from, like, I think a Walgreens will deliver it, right? So some of those things are changing where you can get it delivered, you don't have to go in, right?
Right. So, the counter to that is, like I was saying earlier, I care about the patient, and so do the community pharmacists. And if a patient in Poplar Bluff or St. Louis or Kansas City, if they can get the most efficient way to get their medication, and the safest way is through a PBM affiliated pharmacy, it's cheaper. It's going to be, lower price is the biggest point. It's good. We're going to get these 18,000 checks. I want to make sure that they have access to that.
If you're in a group, do you have a choice to get your medicine from the pharmacy that your group, the PBM, says? Or can you pay a little more and get it from your local pharmacy? Or do you have to get it from the PBM?
You should be able to go out of network.
Yeah, it'll be like a doctor. If your doctor's out of network, costs you more to go see them, right?
But it would be a case by case. And, again, cheaper medication. Everything is so expensive right now. I'm not going to apologize for wanting my medication to be cheaper, more efficient, and delivered to my door. And a PBM just has the capability, because of their size and their expertise, to deliver on that.
So a place like Tolson's Pharmacy here in downtown Jeff City, been around since the 30s. They would be a loser in this, potentially.
Well, I don't know what the case-by-case basis is.
This is your typical small-town pharmacy, been around forever, very popular. I use it myself. They would be the type of folks that would be like, okay, we're not in a lot of these PBMs networks. They
would probably have a rub against the PBMs. Yeah.
Okay.
But the patient, again, this is about the patients. I'm less concerned about the PBMs, pharmacy, the other pharmacy. I want the patient to be able to get their medication on time and at a cheaper price.
So to make sure I learned something today, and maybe folks that this may be too rudimentary for some folks watching this, but for a lot of us, you go from the healthcare insurer to the pharmacy, and really to the drug companies, and you negotiate by, I guess, buying by volume is a big part of it. So you have to distribute by a big volume.
Yep.
So ultimately, you would knock Pfizer's cost down on a drug, but you'd have to probably do it through mail or through one of the bigger pharmacies.
Yeah, in order to put it on, the list of approved medications.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I love visiting with you.
Yeah.
I appreciate teaching me about what a PBM is, but you brought a game.
We have a game, an outfit, whatever you want to call it, that's traveling around to a couple different states, and it helps people because it is complex, and it gives a visual of, it's very basic. A couple different examples. We've got thyroid medication, antidepressants, blood pressure medication, cholesterol. On average, what would you pay without a PBM? So what's the list price? And then what on average people pay with a PBM, like what they get when they're going to, and it's substantial. And I don't think people realize the difference. And I keep going like this because it is truly, we will see, a scale, and you'll see the difference between prices. And I guarantee you, no one is going to go, I really wish I paid the non-PBM price for my thyroid medicine. I really wish I paid the $900 more, literally, for a GLP-1. No.
You got to tell me what that is.
Like the Ozempics, the diabetes medication. Yeah.
Cool. Well, folks, stick around.
Yeah.
In 30 seconds, we'll be out live on Madison Street playing this PBM game. Stick around.
Thank you.
Some politicians claim cockfighting is a proud tradition, but is it really something to be proud of? Cockfighting isn't just cruel to animals, it's cruel to humans. It's linked to organized criminal activity, illegal gambling, even drug trafficking. Leading law enforcement and Christian groups have spoken out and are urging a stop to the violence. But some politicians want to give cockfighters a pass. Keep cockfighting out of our state.
We're back here on High Street with Jamie. You brought the Guess the Price PBM game.
I did.
Because this is the kind of things I need to actually understand stuff. You can explain a lot and it goes over my head, but this I think I get. So explain the game here.
Okay, so we have these all around Missouri and a couple different states around the country.
You live in Missouri too?
We have Missouri.
Well, I'm from St. Louis, so Missouri is St. Louis and Kansas City, and then the campus at Columbia, where all the liberals are.
Yeah.
But the rest of good folks in Missouri, we say Missouri. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
If Fred could talk, for Fred, my dog from West Plains, he would say Missouri.
Fred
right?
Hard lives in Missouri.
Yeah.
But your dog is from Missouri and Koshkonong. Good folks down there.
All right, so we wanted a very simple, very clear way to illustrate what a list price of a common prescription medication is and what you pay without a PBM. So if you just went up to the retail center or the retail counter, and then after a PBM, a prescription benefit manager, negotiates a lower price, what on average you pay.
All right, so if I just walked up to the counter and said, I want to buy some Wegovy.
Yeah.
Trulicity.
If you get prescribed, if you did not have a PBM, well, guess. How much do you think?
If I didn't, I'd say it's $100.
No.
All right, where are we at?
Keep going.
This is like the Price is Right thing. We have
I know!
Need some background music here.
All right. If you were just going to pay list price, you're going to pay $960. I know. It's shocking.
That's like street drug prices.
Well, I wouldn't know about that. But, all right. So after a PBM goes in, negotiates on behalf of all of their customers, what you pay, what someone on average pays, 60. So it's enormous.
So all the Ozempic that everybody talks about getting, it's only $60
on average with a PBM. So what you're going to pay. So this is the power of a prescription benefit manager that you have one if you have insurance.
Now,
but you probably
if someone wants to check this out, how can they check this out? They just Google this and look at the prices.
Well, that's
complicated, like everything else, right?
It's complicated, but this is exactly why we're out here, is to bring transparency to these pricing models. So, you want to do another one?
Let's do one more. Yeah.
All right.
I like the game. It's cool.
It is.
I would say though, you need like the I'm German, so the yodeler going off the thing like in Price is Right. That'd be dope too.
All right.
Price is Right. Bob Barker from Springfield.
I need the
Former.
mic. The like long.
Oh, the
mic.
long one. Yeah. That's it.
Next
Like
time.
a cigarette holder.
All right. We got thyroid medicine. So I take thyroid medicine. Lots of people take it. So if I had to go and just pay list price when I go and pick up my medication, it would be $95. Okay. Which is a lot of money because I take it.
I've been watching the game. I think 95 is like here, right?
Oh my God.
Boom.
I'm
never going to be right at math.
Let's just push it up. So 95 is between 90 and 100. Thank you, Scott. But on average, I'm going to pay about 16.
16, dang.
So I have to take, if you're on thyroid medicine like I am, you take this for the rest of your life. Okay. Over a lifetime, that is
$1,000 a year.
It is enormous. And you know what? I'm so glad you mentioned that because that is the exact number. $1,000 is what PBMs typically save for the average American who has PBM. So what this is, hopefully going to illustrate is when people realize what the list price is for their medications, and we've got cholesterol medications, we've got thyroid, blood pressure, and then what they pay on average with a PBM after they've done all of their work. It's common sense. And we know that when we explain this to people, 70% of Missourians, they actually want their PBMs to be more empowered.
I do think, especially here in Missouri's Rhineland, the only thing I would add is like the yodel music when you move it up. I do think that might bring it home just a touch more. But thank you so much. This is a cool thing. We appreciate you bringing it here to High Street. Thanks for joining us. You're welcome back anytime.
Thank you. Thank you.
Tell that Keller guy, Christopher, I said hi.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe. Thank you all. We'll be back Sunday. Full panel edition of This Week in Missouri Politics. Next week, do a couple of daily updates as we go into the holiday. We'll have no Sunday show. So until then, we'll see you Sunday on This Week in Missouri Politics.